they do, right? Sorry, we have capital punishment. He establishes that with Noah, doesn't he? Did he miss that one? Let's do some history. Let's understand a few things, because that was a lying Satan right there in front of you. In 1948, before 5 Arab armies invaded Israel, there were under 1 million Arabs living there. No such thing as a Palestinian Christian was living there, like he said. There was no such thing as a Palestinian until 1964, when the term got used as a victim term for a group of displaced Arabs that refused to go back into the land because they wouldn't recognize Israel's statehood. Anyway, Ottoman census records from the 19th century as well as the early 20th century records from the British Foreign Office reveal that a significant number of those who are descendants today call themselves Palestinians are in fact descendants of Arab migrants who came across the then borderless Middle East to Palestine or Israel because of the available work in the growing, developing Jewish settlements. They were not displaced. Furthermore, the majority of these Arabs fled Israel at the behest of the invading Arab armies. It was the Arabs that told them to leave the land. Israel said, stay. We will let you assimilate into our land. But they listened to the Arabs, and the Arabs told them, no, we're going to decimate Israel, we're going to destroy Israel, get out of there, and then you can go back. Well, they didn't, and they lost. So they left because they listened to other Arabs. The Jews told them to stay. While the remaining 150,000 Arabs remained and were granted full Israeli citizenship after the war, just like Israel told them to do. Over the last 75 years, the Arab-Israeli population has grown exponentially to about 2.1 million. So they thrive in Israel. Arab Christians make up about 7% of that number and are among Israel's most successful minority groups. So I don't know what this guy's talking about. Again, he's lying. Again, look at what we even say. Okay? This is our Secretary of Defense. Washington has no evidence that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin testified during a Tuesday hearing of the Senate Armed Services Committee about the 2025 defense budget. That's us saying it. So this little Satan over there telling Tucker, so Tucker, you're not going to question him? Are you not going to back him up on his lies? Oh, or maybe because it fits Tucker's narrative. Oh, we've lost another one. Count him down. Genocide? You're talking this little Satan was saying genocide, starvation? U.S. federal law defines genocide as a violent attack with a specific intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. After Hamas terrorists brutally slaughtered over 1,200 innocent civilians and took hundreds of hostages on October 7th, Israel invaded Gaza with the goal of destroying the terrorist group while making great efforts to protect the Gazan civilians. Hamas claims that since the beginning of the war, over 30,000 Gazan civilians have been killed. An estimate of Colonel John Spencer, chair of urban warfare studies at Modern War Institute, explains is absurd. 30,000 civilians have not died in Gaza as a fact, because that number does not account for a single Hamas member. Spencer explains that civilian casualties are abnormally low in the Gaza conflict. The IDF is actually doing this with the least amount of civilian casualties in the history of war. So he's lying. Genocide? And what about Isaac's claim that Israel is starving the Arabs of Gaza? Here are some facts. From the beginning of the war through mid-February, 254,000 tons of supplies were transferred to Gaza, including 167,000 tons of food. There are now 42% more food trucks entering Gaza on a daily basis than before October 7th. Yesterday, 468 aid trucks entered Gaza, the highest number of trucks bringing aid since the start of the war. Though allowing aid into Gaza helps Hamas, Israel has nonetheless allowed the delivery of mass amounts of food and supplies to Gaza. There is more than enough aid entering Gaza today to feed the population. If civilians are hungry, it's because Hamas confiscates most of the supplies for themselves. How come that guy doesn't know that? Or let me better yet, how come Tucker doesn't know that? I found this out just simply doing my own research. I don't have a research team, but I can find this. How come they can't? Unless it fits Tucker's narrative. Tucker's no fool. He knows that Munther Isaac is lying. He knows that Israel's not committing genocide and that Hamas uses the Gazans as human shields and are responsible for civilian deaths. He's right. Why then did he give his seal of approval to Munther Isaac's lie in front of millions of users? 7 million people watched it. Why promote a known charlatan who has dedicated his life to undermining Israel? Why did he do that? The answer is unavoidable because Tucker Carlson is an anti-Semite, and his goal is to turn Christians against the Jewish state. That's the only thing you can conclude, unless Tucker's on dope. Maybe he was high when he did the interview. Okay, maybe he was high. We've seen Tucker like this before. Jew haters who feign righteousness while slandering God's people. Your tongue plots destruction as a sharpened razor working deceit. You loved evil more than good, falsehood more than speaking righteous forever. People like Tucker may be popular for a while,